is worth losing yourself over. Being a pygmisha isn't fucking cool. It's not the vibe. Just for the sake of keeping a man. Do you know how many men there are in the world? A lot. A lot. And there's a lot of good men that would do right by you. And that you don't have to beg or plead or teach them. They're just fucking men. Real men.
What's going on, everybody? It's the distinguished professor. Welcome to my channel.
The real patriot. He is my friend, and he is my great mentor.
It's good-looking professor.
In this session, we're going to be tackling the topic of pygmies, pygmishas, whatever they call them these days. So before we get started, I want to make sure you like, share, subscribe to this channel. Make sure you tap that notification bell so you're not tardy to the next class. And as always, I'd like to give a shout out to my men of class: confidence, loyal, ambitious, assertive, strong, and strategic. And my ladies of grace: gentle, resilient, attractive, compassionate, and elegant. Shout out to the content creator. I'll link her information into the video, into the description. But I will try my best not to interject. I don't do well at that. But I do my best to try to interject and save my comments for the end. But without further ado, let's get started. Class is in session.
And what it's like to be a recovering pick-me.
Okay, no, but can we talk about it for like 0.5 seconds? When I was younger, in my early 20s, late teens, I was absolutely a pick-me. And I think it's safe to say that for a lot of women in our late teens and early 20s, we were pick-me's. Let's call a thing a thing. But I honestly feel like pick-me behavior is really just a sign of just how much society places women's value and proximity to men. I see a lot of discourse on social media about pick-me women and how disgusting and how gross they tend to be and what they say and things that they do. But what I don't see talked about is why this is so prevalent and why it's an issue. In my opinion, pick-me behavior is a symptom to a much larger issue, because underneath all the pick-me behavior is desperation that needs to be talked about. The pressure that society puts on women to find someone manifests in desperate behaviors or being a pick-me. But we put so much shame on being desperate or being a pick-me that no one wants to actually talk about this. But for us to overcome it, it has to be talked about.
I'll never be a pygmisha ever again because I did the most pygmisha thing a bitch could ever pygmisha do. Bitch, I dead ass begged a man who cheated on me to choose me, to pick me. And it gets worse, way worse, bitch. Pygmisha level 1000.
You know what's about to come. First of all, the first young lady, please take the bonnet off. Why do we keep having videos of bonnets on? This young lady, she's tatted, so she's going to have she's limiting her ability to get certain types of men because of the tattoos that she has. But again, I'm going to try to interject just very, very minimal. So let's get back to the video.
I don't think anybody could beat me. This man never paid one of my bills. He told me that after birth, I still had to pay my half of the rent, even though I gave birth to his child, because I needed to come up with my half. So a bitch went right back to work once I had my child. Literally no recovery time, because postpartum was apparently a cop-out. It gets worse. I actually begged him to stay. I blocked the doorway. I believe I got on my knees and asked him to choose me. Yeah, and he was condescending as fuck. This motherfucker was condescending and telling me he doesn't know and that things wouldn't be my way and just laughing in my face. I even washed his feet, like literally, because I was trying to humble myself for him and in front of this man and trying to wash his feet, the way that they wash Jesus' feet and shit. Like if this motherfucker was Jesus. Yeah, I did all of that. The most pick-misha shit a bitch could ever do. Embarrassing. That's why I would never do it again. That's why I know better. I have learned all of the lessons. I have done the most humiliating pick-misha things a bitch could ever do. And that's what I'm telling you. Don't do that to yourself. Have more self-love. more self-respect, more dignity than to do those things. No one is worth losing yourself over. Being a pygmisha isn't fucking cool. It's not the vibe. Just for the sake of keeping a man. Do you know how many men there are in the world? A lot. A lot. And there's a lot of good men that would do right by you. And that you don't have to beg or plead or teach them. They're just fucking men. Real men. So please, if you're involved in pygmisha activities, stop today. In honor of my pygmisha days, please stop. Let's not do that no more. It's 2023.
I used to be a self-hating, internalized, misogynistic pick-me who would throw other women under the bus to get the approval of the misogynists I was surrounded by. That's why I can see it, because it took me years to recover and understand what I had been taught was completely fucking wrong. That the people that I was begging, literally begging for validation from, couldn't give a fuck about me because they see me as less than human just for being a woman. I tried for years to be the coolest, to be the funniest, this and that, at the expense of not only myself, but the other women that I wasn't surrounded with because I didn't have a lot of female friends. No fucking wonder. That's why I can see these women who are doing the same thing to themselves. I can see it because I lived that. Much like many women who were born and raised under patriarchy. We have to deconstruct from patriarchy just like people have to deconstruct from religion. It's just as harmful of an ideology, and they are braided and intertwined into each other. Patriarchy holds up misogyny and Christianity. They're the trifecta of suck. And if you are on your journey of healing from being someone who had internalized misogyny and you were a pick-me, people-pleasing, please validate me type of girl, I see you. I used to be you. And some days, I hate who I was. But the best thing you can do, healing from that type of trauma, is forgive yourself and forgive the person that you were, the person that you had to be to survive. And trust me, those men will never love you. They hate women.
This is my story of how I overcame the whole pick-misha mentality. I was dating this guy and I thought that this guy was heaven sent. Like literally, by me being with this man, I literally did not want for anything. He would get my hair done, my nails done, send me money, help me with my baby. Like I literally thought that this was my soulmate. Within 6 months of our relationship, of it being perfect, his child's mother reached out to me and let me know that he was still dealing with her, that he was a narcissist. He actually has a lot of different women. And on top of that, he is mentally, spiritually, emotionally, and physically abusive. Now, I didn't believe her because, of course, I talked to him about it and he was saying how they are no longer together. She just really wanted my spot because it was so special, and how she was doing anything and everything to jeopardize our relationship. So, of course, I did my research on her. I looked her up on social media and, doing my little pick-me mentality research and like, oh, she can never be me and whatever the case may be. And now I'm trying to actively be different from her, to him. So over time, I'm finding out that everything that she literally told me was to be true. I caught him up with several different women. At this time I had moved in with him, so I became dependent on him, and it was really hard for me to just get up and leave. In addition, I started towards the end of our relationship, I started to experience him physically, emotionally, and spiritually abusing me. So as we're going through the situation, the one thing that we really were bonding over was our dislike, or really my dislike, and his cover up of a dislike for this woman. He used to always tell me that she would make up lies and all this stuff. I mean, despite the fact of everything else that was happening, like I really felt like I was in competition with this woman, but when it came to him. So I ended up being with him for 2 years. And towards the end of our relationship, I experienced a very harsh reality about who he was as a person. So towards the end, I lost so much weight. I literally let myself go because this man stressed me out so much that I literally could not focus on myself or keep myself up because I was too busy being involved in all the drama and chaos that he had brought into my life. When I tell you the last and final straw, I was literally in the closet, in the corner, holding my chest. I felt like I was malfunctioning as a human being because of all of the trauma that this man had put me through for our relationship. After that situation, I literally had to reach out to old girl and apologize about the part I played when it came to our relationship, because everything that she was saying was true. And in reality, she was experiencing the same thing I was experiencing, if not worse, because she had a baby by him. After that, honestly, when I go into dating, I always know that there are two sides to every story. Now, I do know that there are women out there who think that they have such a Prince Charming, and they would try to do anything to get in between him and his new relationship. But for the most part, ladies, if you get a warning from a woman, take it, because trust me, everything that she said, I experienced.
Hi, it's Mia, and welcome to Confessions of a Former Pick-Me Girl. I used to be a pick-me girl. I would be mean to other women. For what? For male attention? Ew! I remember commenting on other women's makeup and be like, oh my god, I don't wear a lot of makeup. I like to look natural because I'm a natural beauty. I'm naturally beautiful, so yeah. Girl, look at you now! You have so much makeup on. I love it though, it makes me happy. I learned that makeup is whatever you want it to be. A form of expression, art, sometimes it's even therapy. There are no rules. You just do what makes you happy. I am so done being a pick me girl. It never brought me happiness. But you know what did? Supporting other women. That actually made me happy. I've got more confessions to share, so like and follow if you want to hear it. Bye!
I am a recovered pick me. So let's talk about it while I get ready. So for those who know me, this might be very hard to believe, but we were all kids once, and some of us are very susceptible to brainwashing. Just in case you don't believe me, when I first met my best friends, I genuinely judged them for how many people they had slept with. I was that 19-year-old who thought I had to be pure in order to be worthy of my first boyfriend. So I was just flabbergasted that they had been in relationships, but they also got to have fun. Fast forward to now, and I'm engaged to the man that I literally prayed for. Like, I wished for him every birthday. But I had to learn a lot of hard lessons along the way before I got here, so I thought it's time I start talking about it so that you don't make the same mistakes too. Some of my mistakes watch my videos till today, so I hope you're quaking in your boots. On today's episode, we're talking about how guys will say literally anything to get in your pants. Actually, it's not just about getting in your pants, it's also about making you fall for them with no intention of actually being in a relationship with you. I met the guy who taught me this lesson right after I broke up with my last boyfriend. And at this point, the pick-me inside me was almost already dead. I thought I made it pretty clear that I was just here for a good time, not a long time, but it did not stop this man from trying to play with me. This man would look me romantically in the eye and be like,
you are just wifey material. If we aren't married to other people in 10 years, we need to marry each other.
Mind you, we've known each other like 2 days. And don't at me for this, but I had just been dumped. So it was like music to my ears. Who doesn't want to be told that they're wifey material? As soon as my face would light up, he would be like,
oh, you are loving this, are you? You love when I say that.
Sir, you just showed your hand. And don't get me wrong, I'm glad this man was foolish, because that was the slap in the face that I needed. And as I said, at that stage, there was still a little bit of pick-me in me. So I kept seeing him and I kept lapping it up. When I was with him, it was all forehead kisses, and I want you to have my babies. But when I wasn't with him, this man would take a whole week to reply to my text messages. The fact that I kept entertaining him made him feel big, you know? And I'm gonna need more women to realize that our attention is very powerful. Because if I'm being honest, this situation only ended because I straight up asked this man why he couldn't reply to my texts. And this man had the audacity to sit in front of me and talk about how he was sleeping with another girl in a relationship, and he just couldn't understand how he was so special that we both wanted his attention. Mind you, this was only shortly after he told me he didn't want to use a condom because he had had an STD before, and it wasn't that bad. I couldn't even make this shit up if I tried. I just feel sorry for the girl at work who was falling for this shit and cheating on her boyfriend. Moral of the story, bestie, sometimes he's just saying it because he likes how it feels when you like him. Don't listen to his words, watch his actions. And trust me, bestie, you will know the difference. Anyways, I'm done. Let me know if you want me to make this a series, and I'll see you next time.
So I'm what you would call a retired pick-me girl. And for the majority of my pick-me girl career, I was a sucker for a fuckboy. And I've taken away one really key learning from that era of my life. And that is that there's a big and essential difference between a bad boy and a bad guy.
I thought I stopped being a pick-me when I started handling these men the way they handled me. When I was able to fully match their energy, their wit, their finesse, their dominance, and just show up in my most authentic self. But if I'm being completely honest, my death of a pick-me story truly began when I learned to show more grace to women than I showed men. When I stopped bashing women who had not received the level of awareness I felt I had. When I learned that sisterhood meant respecting women's decisions, even when they didn't align with my belief system. When I made it a point to remember that my purpose was tied to my ability to connect with women from a place of love. When I stopped judging women for being my definition of mediocre or having men in their lives that didn't meet my financial standards. It's when I finally learned that hypergamy wasn't for every woman, that some women were suited for isogamy and others would still choose hypogamy no matter what, and that's actually okay. It's when I truly understood that women had a right to choose who they had sex with, dated, or married, because the consequences of those decisions will be theirs to bear, not mine. I learned to understand women who now divest as well as those who will forever be race loyal. I found reason to celebrate women who were content with very little in life while still championing women who want it all. You see, not being a pick-me is more than just creating these lofty standards for men we allow to pursue us. But it's also challenging social norms under patriarchy that has made many women feel and become less protected, less accepted, and more marginalized than others. I'm no longer a pick-me, but it has very little to do with how my views on men have changed and far more to do with how my views of women have shifted. I respect women in their absence and hold no space for a man to use another woman as a stool to prop me up. I stopped being a pick-me when I picked me, when I truly became woman identified, a woman's woman, my sister's keeper. Whether you ever read my book to learn the full way I break down pick-me behaviors of women, it is my desire that you unlearn all that doesn't serve you, that you embrace your womanhood, and that you see the true value in sisterhood. Because, ladies, men are not coming to save us. It's time we save ourselves.
So I hope it makes a lot of sense. Now, I hope that all the stories help you to not make the same mistakes that they made. You taking care of a man, you thinking you're better than other women, you wanting to compete with other women, you putting other women down for men to like you, you pandering to men. It's all traits of being a pick-me. And most of us have been conditioned because since we were little, education, how you look, how you cook, how you clean, everything that we were taught by our moms and our family, like our relatives, everything, like society in general, was for us to grow up and becoming useful to men.
Man, I see that girl, and all I can think about is this right here.
You go off to Africa and get, because they'll change that shit up. American women stick together. Last thing they want to see is you got some trained bush bitch in your house. They will catch her by herself in the kitchen and throw a monkey wrench in your whole program. As soon as they get alone, they'll be like, I can't stand it. You be running behind him doing everything he tell you to do. Who you think he is? You ain't no God. You a human being. You ain't supposed to treat nobody. This house is too big for one person to be cleaned up. Why don't you leave? You always crying. Why don't you just leave it, nigga? Oh, you know something, girl? Do you know you can take half his money? Did you know you can take half his money? Did you know that? Did you know you entitled? He didn't tell you entitled to half? Oh, he only told you half the story then, girl. You can take half the money, the car, the house, the children, all the money he got. You can buy all the zebras and bones you want. Go back home in style, girl. You don't have to put up with this shit and get your hair done right. Cut that big afro shit off and go back home to Africa in style. Who the hell do you think he is? Let me tell you something else about Eddie Murphy. That motherfucker ain't nothing but a butt. Oh, hi, Eddie. How you doing?
That's literally what how I feel about all those young ladies and what they were saying. it's just that's how I felt. It's crazy that they thought like that. But for those women, it's curtains. So, and I said this the other day, women pick men like they pick college degrees. All these women had almost the exact same situation with different men. Women pick men like they pick college degrees. And let me go into greater detail. A lot of the women who seek academic advisement typically pick degrees that make sense, especially if they get a good academic advisor. They tend to get degrees that make sense. A lot of times, if they have a bad academic advisor, or they're leading on to their own choices and devices, what ends up happening is they pick a degree that is not going to bring them the money they need to survive in this world. In the city I live in, the average cost of living is between between 3,000 and 3,500 per person for if you're single. If you're making, let's say 48, 50,000, you're barely making it. You're barely making it in this city that I live in. So, but you have all these degrees. You're picking, you go into communications, you're getting becoming a licensed therapist, you're going into social work, you're picking degrees that don't make sense. It's not going to bring you the money. You're becoming teachers, which every one of these jobs are novel jobs. If you're a teacher, that's a novel job, but understand the money's not going to be there. It's just not. You're not taking jobs in STEM. You're not taking jobs in finance. You're not taking jobs in IT. You're not getting these degrees. And consequently, it mirrors the men you pick. You're picking the men that do not make sense for your life. You're picking the men who are not going to be able to provide the outcomes for the life you want to live. You're just not. So when I listen to these ladies, the one light-skinned girl lady, she's talking about the baby mama said, "Hey, this is how he is." And then she said, "I was with him for 2 years." Why? Why were you there for 2 years? I'm sure that man either was blowing that back out or giving her the bag every once in a while so she can run it up. The lady with the tats, she has some surgery. I don't know what her job title is or what she does as a job, but she's tatted up all over her hands. And I tell women all the time that a certain caliber of man you're not going to be able to attract because of the tats you have. And they're like, "Oh, I can cover it up." That's fine, but you're not going to always be able to cover it up. You go to the pool, you're not wearing a bunch of makeup to cover up the tattoos at the country club. It's just not going to happen. Now, I will say there are pick-me's that are what we call doormats. Those are the pick-me's that get ran through and ran over, and now they're retired or a reformed pick-me. Those are not the pick-me women that men want. The ones that are too eager to please. They go out of their way. They do any and everything that man asks them to do. They're like the chick in Coming to America. He says, "Hop on one leg." She hops on one leg. "Bark like a dog, a big dog." That's the kind of pick-me's. That's why he didn't want her. He didn't want her because he did not want a doormat. While she may have been a beautiful woman, he didn't want that. But he chose the woman he chose because she was a pick-me as well, but she was a pick-me in the right way. We want women to compliment us. she complimented him in that movie. We want a woman that's a helpmeet. We want a woman that, yes, after a long day's work, our food is ready. Whether it's in the microwave, the oven, or she's cooking it. We appreciate that. Just like you appreciate us for making sure things are taken care of in the house, making sure the grass is cut, the trash is out, maintenance on your car is up to date, oil changes are done. Anything that breaks in the house, we're there to fix it, or we're calling someone that you don't have to worry about, that you could just go about work. Those are the kinds of women we want. And for people to say, oh, it's misogynist and this, that, and the other. No, it's not misogyny. Because we're meant to be together. And the fact that now you're going to reform yourself and think there's so many more men out there, but now the things you did to get a man, you're no longer going to do. It's not going to work. It's just not. So I don't know what you guys think about a pick-me, but pick-me women, the ones that keep their men, are the ones that are fit, feminine, and friendly. Kevin Samuel said that at Triple F. The women that I say of grace: gentle, resilient, attractive, compassionate, and elegant. You know, there are women that are pick-me's that play sports. That I would love a woman that I can go out and shoot hoops with, you know, play around, joke around, go to Dave and Buster's or something, go to Six Flags, have a great time. But she says, babe, what would you like for dinner? Or, hey, I'm getting to go what do you want to eat for lunch? And she goes and makes a sandwich. Because at the end of the day, when I go out, babe, what do you need? I got you. I know you get your hair done. I got that. Oh, you get your nails done. I got that. Why? Because that's something we want to do. Because it's a give and take. Relationships are all about compromises. And a lot of people don't want to do that. They all about, what can I get myself? And the young lady said, oh, I washed his feet. Oh, I stayed in front of the door. That's the one with the tattoos on her hands. Why? Why are you doing that? That's the doormat behavior that got you in the situation you're in. Now you feel in a certain type of way. You know, self-improvement, continuing, that's that fitness element. That's that wanting to be better element that we like in our women. We want someone that's authentic, genuine care and support. Someone that's authentic, not inauthentic like a lot of the pick-me women are. We want someone that's very authentic, that has concern for the well-being of us, that supports us, supports our goals and endeavors, because in turn, we'll do the exact same thing. We want someone that's emotionally intelligent, being able to understand and manage their own emotions, as well as empathize with her partner. That right there leads to better communication and conflict resolution. A man will want to communicate with you if you can empathize, if you can manage your emotion. You don't automatically go off cuff depending on what happens. We want someone that's independent and self-sufficient. Just like you guys want a man that already has his stuff together, we want a woman that has her stuff together, that's independent and self-sufficient. We don't want a woman that's always up underneath us. That goes back to that doormat behavior. Well, you can be independent and self-sufficient, but you're also supportive. You have your own interests, your own goals, your own friend groups that you may hang out with. I always say when you come into a relationship, is my life before you, your life before me, and our life together. Too many times women want to be everywhere the man is, or don't want him to go anywhere, or be up underneath him, or don't want him to play video games. Like this, let that man de-stress. If he's playing video games, at least he's at home. We want a woman that can communicate effectively. Now, I know there may be issues with us from time to time. When you ask us what's wrong, we say nothing. I get that. But we want a woman that can communicate effectively, that can openly and honestly communicate her needs, desires, concerns, wants. That fosters a healthy and transparent relationship. Men are very easy. They call us dogs for a reason. Dogs are very simple creatures. Speak to us like a C student. Like we get 75s on our tests, because we're very basic. We don't need this whole convoluted story, and we're not going to give you a whole convoluted story. Tell us A and B. We don't need what happened between A and B. Tell us A and B. Give us the meat and potatoes. We don't need all the sides. We don't need the appetizers or the dessert. We want somebody that we can trust. for both with the words we say, the things we tell you guys, as well as keeping your legs closed for everybody but us. So we want someone that's loyal and trustworthy. Can you be loyal and trustworthy? Can I trust you to tell you something and your friends don't know about it before I even meet them? Or your friends aren't laughing about it because they know about what you told them. There's so many women out there that men have a hard time trusting because if they tell them something that goes back and now you betrayed their trust, now you're mad because the man won't tell you anything. Do you have a positive attitude? Do you have a positive attitude? Do you have a positive outlook on life? Too many women out there have a negative outlook because they have that relationship trauma, because they've been on the cock carousel for years and they've been dogged out. They've met F-boys. But every relationship is different. You should not go into a new relationship with old relationship baggage. And if you're going into that relationship with old relationship baggage, you need to seek therapy and help you get over it if you have not. Because that is a way that pushes a man away. So no matter how much you want to be picked or have all these honor and respect for a man, you're going to get picked, but that baggage is going to come up and it's going to show itself and in some way, shape, and form, it's going to turn the guy off. And then you're going to call him a bad guy. Or maybe he steps out. Respect and appreciation is another one. You should honor, cherish, and respect your mate. If you honor, respect, and trust, if you honor, respect, and appreciate yourself, how you would do for yourself, you should do for your mate. That's the honor, respect, and appreciation you should have for the person you're with. Do you guys share the same values and goals? Don't be unequally yoked. I think it was Chris Rock that said, if he's a crackhead, you got to be a crackhead too. If he's a Christian, you got to be a Christian too. Like, y'all got to have the same values and goals. And I always say a lot of times it's foundational goals. And a lot of times women compromise on those foundational goals because of what a guy may have or what a guy may say. You cannot compromise your values and your goals for any person. Because at the end of the day, when you compromise your values and goals, you cannot be your authentic self. And men, as well as women, can sense that almost a mile away. And at some point, it's going to come up. So you have to share the same values and goals as your mate. These are the things I just listed. And if you do the proper vetting, if you go to your academic advisor, so to say, a lot of these things won't be problems in your relationship. And then you being a pick-me won't be an issue. Men want pick-me's. Men don't choose to pick-me women that are doormats. Have some backbone. Have some backbone. And then lastly, to the young lady that said misogyny is all in the Bible. I try to stay very neutral, but I grew up Christian in the church. Proverbs 31:10. Proverbs 31 is great, especially when you're looking at the virtuous woman. Proverbs 31. Judges 4 and 5. The whole book of Ruth. I mean, that book of Ruth talks about loyalty, faithfulness, and hard work. Those are celebrated. Now, Ruth, if you look at it, remember, it's the ancestor King David and Jesus. She demonstrates the importance of the role women played in the lineage of significant biblical figures. So that's the whole book. Let's go to the New Testament. You have Jesus' interaction with the woman. Jesus respected women. So we're looking at John 4 and John 8 and Mark 5. This is the one with the issue of blood. We're talking about Mary Magdalene, who was in the garden after he rose, but always she was ride or die. She rocked with him. You look at Acts 18. You look at Galatians 3. So these are areas within the Bible where you want to say misogyny was in the Bible, but these are, and that's the one difference when it comes to the Bible. The Bible actually uplifts women as opposed to other ancient texts that did not. So you can't talk about misogyny and then talk about the Bible, because the Bible says, women, submit yourselves to your husband as the man submits himself to the church. The man, and I can tell women before, I'll submit to the right man. Well, you shouldn't be submitting to any man who's not submitting himself to the church if you're going by the book. So if the man is not submitting himself to the church, to Christ, then there's no reason for you to submit to him. If you see what I'm saying. So if he's not doing his job, you're with the wrong person, first of all. But that submission part is different now because he's not doing his part. But pick-me's is not the problem. It's the mentality and attitude of these women who think they have to do everything for a man and be inauthentic. Inauthenticity is not going to get you the man. I don't care what you do. You're not going to get, you can get men, but you're not going to be able to keep them because you're going to get walked over like a doormat. So women, there's nothing wrong being a pick-me. But as a pick-me, provide the things that men want. And we'll tell you, listen to the right people, we're telling you. Listen to the right spaces, we're telling you. And like I think one girl said, "Oh, these guys just want to beat you down. They don't want a guy." I think maybe I was just another one. They want a woman that is not a pick me. They want a woman who's independent and then beat her into a pick me submission. No, it's not what we want. Especially myself. I deplore doormats. There's things I may try out in a relationship to see if I can get away with it and see if she even says something. If I know she doesn't, I don't date her anymore. I have to go because I know I don't want a doormat. I want a woman just like I described, just like I tell you, a woman of grace. So we have to pick better. Talk to your dad if he's not around. Talk to your uncle if he's not around. You got brothers, cousins, or a trusted friend who doesn't want to sleep with you. Good luck finding that one. But have a friend that does not want to sleep with you, a male friend that you can have vet the men that you're wanting to date. And when they vet them and they tell you, give you a thumbs up or thumbs down, listen to what they're saying. If they give the man a thumbs down, you probably need to walk away. Because I've asked women this before, how many times have you gotten information, the person that you trusted told you no, and then later on you found out the same thing that person told you came the truth? Just like the light-skinned lady. She's a cute girl, cute lady. Said that the baby mama told me, but I wanted to see for myself. Stevie Wonder says seeing is believing. So, ladies, nothing wrong with being a pick-me-sha. Just be the right kind of pick-me. Because especially in our community, Black women, there's 1.5 million more of you guys than us. And 1 in 4 of you guys are being married. It is a competition. You need to be the best version of yourself. You need to be the best version of yourself for the man you want. And because everyone's not going to get picked. So if you want to get picked, raise your hand and be counted. But I'm going to end it right here. I appreciate you guys for staying with me for the last 37 minutes. Again, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Make sure you tap that notification bell so you won't be targeted to any one of my new sessions. Hey, again, there's nothing wrong being a pick-me-sha. Go out here and get yourself picked. Count yourself for that number because we count things by marriages, not by engagements. But at the end of the day, have a great day. Class dismissed.